Checking life. Verify location. Good evening. Tonight has been a wonderful experiment of human contact. A symbiotic relationship between man and machine and you. The human brain is capable of millions of connections. Each one is a memory, an event. Tonight shall be remembered not by one, but by thousands of these relationships. As you leave here tonight, close your eyes and travel back to here, to now. And always remember that this was one moment. You were not alone, and you felt something that thousands of others had felt, and it was love.
Passionate intensity. It's a complicated fusion. We are catapulted towards death. The mystique I adore is the beating heart of those who share my life. This is their legacy, in obscene glances, laced in silver.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I know there's going to be some latecomers, and that's okay. But thanks for tuning in live. Tonight we have a fantastic show. I've really been excited for this show. This is going to be really fun. We're going to learn a lot. You guys can ask a lot of questions, and you're going to get them answered by a very successful entrepreneur and what do you call yourself? Just a businessman? What do you call the float man? What would you... I don't know what you call you. You're just a man with a dream who's making it happen. That's what I love. And so
there you go.
We'll get into that in just a second, but we'll hurry into our sponsor so we can get quickly to the show. Yourtea.com. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. Go to yourtea.com. They have Tiny Tea, Her Tea, Fertility Tea. I found out it actually is fertility tea. Oh. They should have gone with just fertility. Anyways, Anti-C Tea, which is it's for a cleanse, and then there's Man Tea, which is what I take. It's fantastic. Go check them out. Greatly priced. They're a good company. Just go check them out. Cover It in Vinyl. That's our company. Go to www.coveritInvinyl.com. And right now we have a promo code. If you use the word podcast, you can get 20% off of any and all of your orders, guys. So go check it out. Tons of stickers. Girls, if you like nail decals, there's tons of them right now. Get ready for St. Patrick's Day, whatever it is. And if you want cool quotes on your walls and whatever, we can make custom things. You just have to click the custom order button. So anyways, use the promo code podcast and you'll get 20% off. And then our last sponsor, I'm going to have our guest here kind of explain it, but it's Salt City Float Spa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what? I don't. Okay. So what? How much does it cost to float?
Your first float is $59.
It's a good deal. And so what? I mean, how long is that?
It'll last an hour.
Okay, so 60 minutes, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 59. And then after that, do you guys do like a club, like a memberships? Do you guys do monthly punch card? I don't know. Do you guys do something like that?
Typically, you just buy a lifetime membership for $55, and that'll
cool.
give you floats for life for $49.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like a exclusive member type. I mean, I guess that's what it is. Membership.
No contracts or anything like that. Just really easy breezy there.
Well, and the funny thing is, it's like the same price as like a tanning salon, which is good. I mean, I get it. Vitamin D, it's good for the skin. But this is, I think this would be, if I had to choose both, I would do floating any day if you could do that. That's how much you pay for it.
This makes tanning look like
a little
child's play.
Yeah, well, good. It's for the smart-minded. So what's your website, really quick?
It's www.saltcityfloat.com.
Beautiful. And what's the best? Or what days are you open?
It's kind of a little bit different. We're open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're closed Sunday and Tuesdays.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Trying to think. Anything else we want to do? Do you guys have any special deals coming up? Valentine's Day? I don't know. Do you guys have anything like that you want to throw out?
We do. Right now, we've got 2 one-hour floats for $99. So you and your sweetheart can come and float.
That's a good deal.
In 2 separate tanks. Can't float together in the same pod. So you'll be in your own tank.
Defeats the purpose.
In your own room with your own shower. And that's our Valentine's special going on right now. And then we always like to run a 3-pass special. Mm-hmm. So you float 3 times for $123.
That's a good deal.
And it includes your membership fee. So basically you pay $123, you get 3 floats plus that membership. So from then on out, it's just $50 every time you float.
That's awesome. Perfect. Well, why don't we jump into it now? First thing I want to kind of start off is let's start how did you get into this? How did you decide that you were going to go full-time into, I mean, have you always been an entrepreneur, I guess?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. What kind of things did you do leading up to this? What kind of business, I don't know. How did you decide you were going to be an entrepreneur? Maybe as a kid, whatever.
Well, I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur at an early age, at age 14, mowing grass for all the neighbors, and then digging, ditches and pulling shrubs, that type of stuff. And so it went from landscaping to industrial cleaning to floating. So
that's awesome. Well, good.
It's been quite a journey.
So how did you, I guess, get fed up with your last one to decide that, what made you decide to randomly set up a float spa?
Well, I floated about 3.5 years ago down in Phoenix. Okay. And it was cool. Mm-hmm. It was different. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what everybody says when they first float. Yeah. And spent $120, $130 on a 2-pass, which covered my wife and I, and thought it was cool. But I really was intrigued by the idea of the whole concept, the business plan. I was like, whoever got that started. And that man's brilliant. Yeah. And I met him as I was leaving his float center down in Phoenix. It was True Rest. Mm-hmm. And thought it was cool. But I really brought the brilliant talk out after I left this facility with my wife. Mm-hmm. And we just put it off for about 3 years and just kind of hung on tight with what our plans were here in Salt Lake. And then my business was stagnant or it wasn't growing for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of plateauing. Sure. And at that point, I just had nothing to lose. I wanted to do something that could kind of stir more of a passion, more of something for the people. Mm-hmm. So this is what it was.
That's so. I'm just trying to think. So what did you go instantly? You stopped doing the previous job and you jumped on and just started doing this thing full time, or were you doing side? I was
doing industrial cleaning. Uh-huh. I was doing industrial cleaning.
What does that mean exactly? What is an industrial cleaning?
We cleaned a lot of greasy mechanic shops and body shops throughout the state of Utah for the past 5 years. Okay. And it just hit me on my second float that I needed to bring this to Utah. Yeah. So I floated about 1 year and 3 months ago,
Okay.
So I didn't float for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I floated again. And nothing happened while I was floating. I was just sitting there floating. Okay, passing time, And then all of a sudden I got out and I talked to this girl that was behind the desk. And I said, does everybody feel like this? And she said, how are you feeling? And I said, I feel like nothing matters.
Yeah,
I feel like whatever I'm supposed to worry or care about right now, I don't even care, and I don't even worry about it.
No, I know what you're saying.
I felt totally liberated at that point. So from that point forward, I knew that it had factual benefits. This wasn't just like
selling,
selling ice tin Eskimo or something. Yeah. So it was a real deal. It was a factual benefit of tension, stress, anxiety relief. So
now, was it hard to decide to go full time? What kind of obstacles did you have to do to take? I know those spas are expensive. What kind of things did you have to do to decide? How did you wing off? And then I don't know. How did you decide to fully do that and have the confidence to know it's going to work? That I'm gonna, and convince your wife. That's the hardest part for some of my things. I'm like, oh, honey. But the best thing is that she at least has a good mind and she knows, I don't know about that one. And she's right about 100% of the time. So how did you convince your wife and then also get on the same boat and take a big risk? Financially and fun things like that, but it's kind of a risk, right?
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate that my wife, she comes from a background of finance, and she was able to convince the banks to give us a loan.
Awesome.
So leveraging the big banks was a good thing. And then the next thing was I was able to get a hold of a couple different tanks for a reasonable amount of money, and then from that point forward, it just moved forward, and we built it out about 3 months, and we were open for business in no time.
Now, a hard part about this is there was nothing like this in Utah, it's a good thing, but it's also a little bit scary because you don't know how people will take that. You experienced it in Phoenix and you think that's great, but again, how much work did you put into not necessarily marketing, but the whole idea of kind of studying your area to see if this would actually work?
Well, I knew it was going to work.
Yeah.
Simply because we were going to be the only ship in the harbor.
Gotcha.
Here in the Salt Lake area. And so people were going to come. They were going to find out. They were going to look us up. They were going to Google us. It was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so we have only 2 tanks, and it's been good so far.
That's awesome.
Can I
sure, go ahead. Yeah,
for a second?
Absolutely.
So just like from start to finish, the biggest concern was that we wanted to get a big fat loan from an investor and have this big 4-pod site, and hopefully it'd be great and huge. And I think that's what everybody thinks and wants when they say, I'm going to open a float spa. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we got turned down by everybody because nobody had heard about it. And it is Utah, and it is a little scary to do something like that. So we said, okay, what's the bare minimum that we need to get this open? And so we took what little savings we had in the bank. We put 10% down, got a loan, got 2 pods, and just took the chance. Sean kept working on the side on his industrial business because it did well and it took care of the family.
Sure, yeah.
But it just broke his back, which is the biggest reason why we did this, was because one day he came home and he was like, I was hurt. I'm so done.
Yeah.
And I didn't want the pain pills. I didn't want all that nonsense in the house. I didn't want, that.
Utah is just known for all of that.
Yeah. I'm like, then let's do it. Let's do the spa. Is it time? Let's do it. And so we opened up. He, worked every single day, 18 hours a day, doing 2 jobs. I was taking care of kids. Grandma helped out a lot. I worked 3 days a week in the spa. And we got enough people excited about it to where we could keep the doors open. And that was our biggest thing. But, it was very scary, but the biggest thing I can say, because I'm not an entrepreneur. I like to think inside my little box. I like you to tell me what to do and have my checklist. And Sean is exact opposite. You do not tell him what to do. You don't give him doors. He will bust through them. That's why that's awesome. I want it. I'm going to have it. I'm going to do it. And so after about 5 months, we were able to get rid of the industrial cleaning company, which was great, and do full-time on the spa and just focus on the spa. And we did it in such a way so that we didn't have to have crazy expensive prices, but we could have a beautiful facility. So we spent the money in the right places, I like to think. And we were able to keep afloat because we didn't have these crazy high, numbers that we had to hit every single month.
Yeah. So I think that's where a lot of people fail with businesses and things like that. Is they instantly, like what you were saying with let's go 4 pods,
go big
this
or go
place
home.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then, they spend more money on the fancy pens and the business cards when they have nothing to show for it yet.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, I don't know, my wife, I guess my mother-in-law, she works for a company, Lizard Skins, and they started out of a garage. Apple started out of a garage. It's kind of like this whole, you start where you can and you build up instead of buying these fancy T-shirts and all these things to throw out to people. And that's where a lot of businesses, you just see them. Everyone has a T-shirt company they're going to start. Everyone's tried, and it's crazy because they spend it in the wrong places. Whereas in start small, use a little bit of money, do this all on the side, and build it gradually. Oh, yeah. At least that's what we've done with our vinyl business, and it's worked fantastic. But so I totally agree with what you're saying there. That's awesome.
We'll do the MLM side of Salt City Float Spa later.
Sure.
So
I was going to ask you guys. I think that would be a fantastic, not necessarily the MLM. Everyone in Utah does that. But have you ever thought about franchising, I guess? I mean, because it kind of Salt goes really good with the whole idea of a thing. Yeah. And I think franchising would be amazing.
If you want to open a Salt City, there's just a simple down payment of $100,000 and $10,000 a month. Let's do this thing. Yeah. First site will be in LA.
I think you guys would kill it. That's the funny thing is you guys would, because many people really would.
We would like to open a couple of sites, but it has to be with a very passionate type individual.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
About how long ago was it, or how long have you had your company, Salt City Floats?
We just celebrated our first year anniversary on the 6th of this month.
Awesome.
So just barely over a year.
Awesome. Okay. And you guys done good? Fantastic. Financially, everything's ready to go? You guys doing awesome?
We're not like...
It's a business is business. I get it.
But we are very, very grateful and very lucky that we're doing okay. We're going to make it.
I've got all chips in. Like if we were in Vegas right now, it would you'd just hear all the chips cracking and crashing. Mm-hmm. This is it. This is all we do. I've totally denied myself of the industrial cleaning, and we absolutely love life because we're helping people evolve their minds and bodies.
Absolutely.
And just let go of all this craziness in the world.
There's so much crazy. And that's what you were saying is when you got out of the tank and you were like, does everyone feel this way? That's exactly what I felt. Kind of both times when you get out. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that you finally have spent a good old hour, 90 minutes with yourself for the first time and how long. But also just the whole, you're talking to yourself, you're with yourself, you kind of just have to enjoy yourself. And what I've always thought, and it stayed in my mind, but you were saying, or maybe it's in your DVD before you go, but it was the whole, if you get bored with yourself, what does that say about yourself? And that's stuck in my head so many times. I've said that, and I'm like, if I'm bored. So I'll sit here, my wife, we have weird days off, and we were never off on the same days. So when I'm here by myself, I'm like, bored with myself. Okay, so I'm trying. I love that about your little DVD, and that was a great idea, by the way, to do that because it gets you in that whole I don't know, just the area, the mindset of what
really are you? Yeah.
No, I loved it. So you guys got a good place up there. Fantastic, great design, and it looks really good. Trying to think of some other. Do you have any questions, Ryan?
Well, we're talking more about the entrepreneur side. I have more like about the float. I don't know if you want to go that direction yet, or
not quite yet. Hold on, what does this guy say right here? Let's see how long. Sorry, Jake McLeod. I'm reading your thing really quick. Was it a huge risk for them to start it? Would you say it was a huge risk?
Hell yes.
Yeah, I would say. But no, that's awesome. And then how long did they? Let's see. How long did they want to open it before they actually started the process?
So, no, that's a very good question. That makes perfect sense because we floated and it took us about 3 years. And we were thinking and talking and playing that idea in our head for 3 years before we actually moved on it. And that's something that you really need to think about because you'll get some people or we'll get some folks in our spa that are like, oh, I'm going to open a float spa. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
You really, really, really need to be passionate about this because just like anything on this earth, it can become a fad. And this is not a fad for us, but we'll see people come and go. They'll be real passionate and excited for several months, and then they'll fade off.
Sure.
And this has to become your life. This has to be who you are. And it's just so crazy. I just want to throw this in there real quick, that this happened to Sean and I because we were on a totally different path in life. And then when we started floating, we realized that this was so engraved in our spirits that this is what we're supposed to do. We're Pisces. We love the water. We're fish. We're emotional train wrecks all the time. This was what we were supposed to do. And I like to think that we are pretty damn good at it. And we know it better than a lot of people because of what we've put into it. So
and the passion is all about it. No, you're right. Because if you don't have that passion, and you can see that. You can see that if you're a customer.
If you're in it for the money, go set up an MLM.
Yeah.
Because this is not it.
Well, even then, don't even go to an MLM. Those places.
Stay away from those two.
Always. Let's see. Here's a few more. If that was it. Oh, no. Is this their first business? Obviously not. Okay. And is it going... Wait. Oh, okay. So is it going worse or better than planned? Would you say as of this minute? 1 year...
It's going right as expected as planned.
Beautiful. Okay. I love it. I know we want to jump into the floating, but I think I have one more question. Oh, okay. So what has been the best part about owning your own business? You officially 100% all chips in, owning your own business. What would you say is the best part of being a business owner?
The best part is seeing people just stressed or confused out of their minds before they go into the tank. And when they come out, they just feel totally liberated.
Yeah.
They feel like they've taken their lives back.
Yeah.
And how you can feel that and how you can understand that is just by the smile on their face.
It's so true.
You can feel the brilliance. They just come out and they're just like, so how was your flow?
Yeah.
It's amazing. It was great. Yeah, I've got a lot to learn, but, I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. So.
That's awesome. What advice do you have towards anyone starting a business? I know Jake, the one who's asking the questions, him and I are probably very similar. We start little businesses on the side, and either we sell them or we kind of, I don't know. It's hard to stick to one, if that makes sense. And that's normal. But I guess what advice do you have for people to financially be smart about it, not do something stupid, not put all your chips in, buy all these business cards, do all these stupid things, and then before you know it fails. You're done, now you're screwed, now you're in debt. What advice do you have towards someone who is an entrepreneur? College, yes, no? I mean, I know everyone's different, but if you're an entrepreneur, what do you think, what advice do you have to a startup?
I actually had this conversation with a good friend of mine the other night, and it went something like this. I just said, don't quit your day job.
Amen.
You're making $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Just stay there. Don't put your house, your family, everything in jeopardy. It can get a lot crazier if you do that. With that being said, you still have Saturdays, Sundays, 12 hours a day outside of your 9-to-5 job that you can exercise passion.
Yep.
Maybe go check out a different type of industry or whatever passions lead you to wherever you need to go or you want to go. And just go check those things out for, 15 minutes or 3 hours, or do a road trip and say, I'm going to do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
And check into different industries. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. No, I love it. Do you have any books you would, what's your favorite book? Entrepreneur-wise, would you say? Are you a fan of self-help? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you name a few books you may like, or maybe just one that you really, really love?
I really like a lot of books.
No,
but, I can't really put a finger on one that really has inspired me that much.
Good. Well, good. Now I think we can get into floating. What is floating? What would if you had to define floating for this guy who doesn't have a clue what I'm talking about? Before. You have to pretend, and for half the listeners who have never heard of sensory deprivation or floating, explain if you could define floating. I guess it's hard, but the best way you can.
No, me too. Okay. So real quick, we'll back it up just a tinch. So after 4 bad nights of sleep, your body takes on a pre-diabetic state. doesn't metabolize sugar properly, and your body starts to deteriorate.
Okay.
They are finding that statistics are showing that people aren't dying of old age. They're dying because of bad sleep.
Really?
The average adult gets 125 minutes of REM sleep every night. The average elderly gets the average of 25 minutes.
No way.
This REM sleep is what the sleep is that your body uses to heal itself.
Yeah.
So you get into a tank that looks like a giant egg.
Yeah.
And it's full of water that's heated to skin temperature and 1,200 pounds of medical grade Epsom salt. Mm-hmm. You get in that tank and you shut the lid and you float. And what it does is it relaxes every single muscle in the body, including your core muscle. And your core muscle can never relax. It has to keep us stable at all times. So when you put your body in a zero gravity state, like in a pod or in outer space, mm-hmm. the body produces massive amounts of endorphins and dopamine and serotonin and all the feel-good drugs it uses to heal itself. And it immediately goes into that REM, that status. And it also goes into we're usually in an alpha brainwave state. Mm-hmm. So you ease into the theta brainwave state, which is where you're creative, your body heals, it does all sorts of really cool things. So 1 hour in a tank is equal to 4 to 6 hours of total undisturbed REM sleep. So you get out of that tank and you feel amazing.
And you sleep good that night, too.
You sleep good that night, and that is what the body uses to heal itself. That's why it's an incredible way of heightened meditation, and it's an incredible way of natural healing, because it's literally just letting the body do what it's supposed to do, which is heal itself. Mm-hmm. So...
Well, my next question was going to be, what are some of the benefits you would say for floating? You kind of described some, but what are some more benefits? I know it's good for the skin.
What doesn't floating do?
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's good for everything. They're finding that it's helping children with autism because in autistic children, they have a lack of magnesium, and this gives you a total infusion of magnesium. Iodine, you lose iodine when you get older, and it helps with that. It helps with anxiety, depression, which are not just in your head. Those are serious diseases that we're now realizing are so difficult and harmful to the body. Stress kills the body. It helps with stress. It helps with pain management, jet lag, women who have fertility issues, overweight, obesity, because it just balances every system in the body. Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Just everything.
Just everything. You got a scratch on your hand, it's going to help that.
Yeah.
It's just literally, it's everything.
That's awesome. Trying to think. Yeah, again, when I went and floated at your place, I slept amazing. But I remember the drive home. I was in traffic. It was crazy. It was right about 5 o'clock that I got out, and from Salt Lake City all the way to here. But it was just crazy traffic and nothing. Like, I just didn't care. It was weird because, and I even had a podcast that night. It had to be to... My wife's calling me, where are you? Your friends are here. You know, I just was zoned. I was just so level. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was just zen. It was just perfect. I was listening to music and I understood it. Like, it was just really weird. It was this whole different, like I just took this miracle drug and now I understand it. And now it's kind of like a Xanax, a natural, complete, just chill out, but I can still do what I need to do. I'm totally functional. I can drive, but it's just... I didn't care that I was in traffic, bumper to bumper for whatever. It was really cool. So,
it's
and I
funny
noticed
that you say that because that is exactly what Xanax does on a chemical level. Is it helps, it forces the body to produce a certain amount of serotonin and dopamine to relax you. And when you go float, it does it naturally. So the benefits to floating regularly are that it helps your body do that on its own. Whereas when you take a Xanax or a lorazepam or Zoloft, your body no longer knows how to do it on its own. So it shuts down and it becomes totally dependent on these things. Whereas when you do floating, it helps the body remember that it knows how to do it on its own. And you're not addicted to floating, even though we want you to be.
Sure.
You can do floating once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month, and it does the same thing, and you're doing it naturally.
Yeah.
So it's great.
No, I love that. I have a question from, her name's Brittany Shields. Shout out to you. Thank you for asking the question. Her question is this. For people who have severe anxiety disorder, would this be beneficial or more of a detriment to their overall well-being?
Oh, honey. It helps so much with anxiety. And I can say that because I used to have serious problems with anxiety, and I'm still working through some, but I tell you what, it's been incredible floating. That has helped me so much to just relax. The poor mothers out there that, like me, that have 2-3 kids strapped to their hip and they're just stressed out of their minds and they can't relax. Yeah. And they just, you have them come float and come out, and they are just so, it's a reset button. And it helps with anxiety faster than anything else. It takes time to heal fibromyalgia, and it takes time to heal this or that, but you will get immediate results with anxiety and depression almost instantaneously. It's incredible. But if you have severe anxiety and severe depression, one float is not going to cut it.
Sure.
It takes time. But you will feel amazing.
And overall, it's better. It's also healthier. Because would you rather take this chemical all the time and, again, have your body rely on this chemical? Because I know I did an interview. His name, Cody, I want to say his name is. But anyways, he was filming this documentary called Millionaire by 25. And the whole documentary was he had 2 years to become a millionaire. He got close. I think he got like $250,000. So not that close. But for a kid 21 years old in Canada, he got pretty close. And he was doing good. But the whole documentary was just him doing that thing. And so we had him on the show, and we were asking him questions. And he was, I think, I don't know what he was talking about, but it was, now I just went blank. It's not caffeine. Anyways, he said he was cutting out caffeine out of his diet. And I was kind of asking why. He's like, it's because, what is the stuff that gives you energy? I'm trying to, there's a chemical. No, it's more, I'm trying to remember the stuff. It's not testosterone. It's
is it the B6 or B12?
No, B12 does, but it's anyway. So it's going to come to me in a second. But anyways, he was just saying that he was cutting out coffee and diet, these things because the hard part about I don't know. At least I experience it when you're in that full entrepreneur mode. You're kind of going 24/7. You go to bed, your brain's still thinking. You're doing it. You're drinking coffee or you're drinking Monster Energies, and you're just trying to stay up because you feel like I can't crash now. I have to keep going and going and going. Your body, at least for me, when I was doing it all the time, I would take those 5-hour energy, and it'd be a rock star, and it'd be this, and it'd be that, and so my body would start to rely, hence, on caffeine. And then adrenal. That's what it was. It was called Adrenal Support. You can go get it at Good Earth. Got on this stuff, started taking it, stopped caffeine, and it kind of started to heal my adrenal glands, which were getting, adrenaline and just kind of just getting back, winging myself off of this stuff. So I think that's fantastic if you can, because I know I feel so much better, especially maybe if I am hypoglycemic. Caffeine's horrible. And anyways, just getting off of that. Pretty much just saying, go natural, because I think that's fantastic. You don't want to, I don't know. But another question, is floating a form of psychedelics? I mean, I have another question later on, but would you say that it's psychedelic?
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
How would you? Why would you say yes?
Well, the reason why it's a psychedelic or it's deemed psychedelic is because one can access a dream state. Lucid dreams, dreaming, whatever it is that you do while you're sleeping, you can access that in there. Now, if everybody remembers a dream, which is almost 100% of everyone,
sure,
that's psychedelic.
Yeah.
You've seen things, you've seen images, you've seen different forms or whatever it is. That's a psychedelic experience. Now, we're not going to roll those out within the floating experience. Sure. Anything's possible. But the biggest thing to focus on is not on fear, but on overcoming fear. Okay. Where if anything happens, just take it like a grain of salt. It's all good. And don't look into it. Don't treat it like witchcraft or something crazy like that. It's just totally normal. I fell asleep. I had a lucid dream, or
Yeah. What's the coolest float you've ever experienced? Maybe did you see any images? Did you feel something? I mean, how would you describe the coolest or most crazy event that's ever happened to you in a pod?
The craziest float that I've ever had was my second float by far. I stayed in there for 60 minutes, and I literally felt like I was just totally in a different place. Like I was no longer on planet Earth. Totally sober, just straight out, looking at this girl, just going, asking her 20 questions of, does everybody feel like this? I got to bring this to Utah.
Yeah.
That was my best float, but my craziest float was, I've had a lot of crazy floats, but
sure.
I had this awesome float, okay? Okay, so this is how it went. All of a sudden I get in the tank, right? And I set the program, it's late at night, and boom, I was gone. And I forgot to turn out the light inside the pod. And so due to light sensitivity, I was awakened. But I woke up about 15 minutes later, showered, got back out, and I was ready to go out for the night. And then I look at the clock, and the pump wasn't turning on inside the isopod. And I was like, what in the heck? Why isn't it turning on? Well, there's 45 minutes left in my session. I literally felt like I left the world, the planet, all of our atmosphere, gravity, for 27 hours within a 15-minute cycle. Really? And I could not believe it. I felt so renewed, reinvigorated, reset, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like that is what comes to mind, that I left the world for 27 hours because I fell asleep. I was in the deepest REM sleep or whatever you want to call it. But I came back because I forgot to turn the light off. And I woke up because the light turns on at the end of your session. Yeah. And it was incredible.
That's crazy.
That is the craziest trip. I was like, I was gone. I was out of here.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Turn off the light.
Turn off the light.
Well, that's a question I have now. Is so my wife, I think she could really benefit from this, but a big fear she has is the whole small spaces, the whole idea. Have you ever had people who are like, okay, I'm going to do this head on, and they were worried about that a lot, but they still did it and came out okay? Or, I mean, what's your advice for those? What is it called when they...
Claustrophobia.
Yes.
I've had a few, probably about 15 or 20 in 1 year that they're a little nervous and they're claustrophobic. But once they get in there and actually see the size of the pod, I think they're like, oh, never mind, because it's the size of a car. Yeah. Pretty much a small car. So you can have the lid open or shut, and you can also have the light off or on. And the interesting thing is that men, they say, do better with lights off. That's how their brains are able to function better, blah, 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 blah. Girls, they're better with lights on. So we actually get into a more relaxed state when the light is actually on. Huh. So you can have it off or on.
Okay. So do you float with it on or off?
I float with it off. Really? But I had a float last week that I actually had it on the whole time. And it was a different type of experience. It was actually really cool. It was great. One thing I wanted to throw in with the psychedelics is that when you float, when your body gets that super relaxed, your body starts to create and produce a little something called DMT. Mm-hmm. And when you produce more DMT, you start having visualizations. You see colors, you see, the different shapes and such. And so that's why they could consider it a psychedelic, is because your body is literally producing something that is classified as a class A, psychedelic drug, which is DMT. And
it's funny, it's illegal. I mean, just everyone's done an illegal drug if they drink.
Why would we legalize something that would heal so many things?
I know it helps heroin addicts. It's like 98%.
Did you just?
And it's going crazy right now.
Did you just see they had an article about a study that came out in Sweden that they decided that LSD was 100% effective for the help in certain sicknesses. There was no downside to it. Yeah, and it's a brand new article. It just came out. I'll have to find it.
I think I saw it. It might have been Graham Hancock or something.
Yes, that was it.
Was it?
That was it.
Okay, yeah.
And but it's so cool because these things can heal our bodies, and they're considered psychedelic and scary when it's just natural. When there are so many things out there, there's other dimensions that we haven't even touched the surface on, and floating gives us just a little taste, a teaser of those things, and it's awesome. Yeah. But anyway, so there's that.
No, that's awesome. my wife asked really quickly, how often do you guys float? Would you say? Let's say a week or a month. How often would you say you float a month?
4, 5, 6 times a month.
That's gotta be amazing.
Yeah.
That's gotta, yeah. So the funny thing is, both of you walked in here, and you, especially when I met you the first time, I could just tell you're happy, you're bright, you're smiling, you're very relaxed and chilled, and very warm or glowing. I don't know, you're welcoming. And then when you walked in, you were very quiet. But instantly when I think you talked about, so this is a radio show, and then Joe Rogan, you were like a completely different person, but it was, you're happy, you're glowing, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very interesting because never would have thought, I don't know, you just, you have a glow to you, and it's interesting.
This is the biggest deal, though, is because every single person that walks in our doors, we're all one. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what they believe, what they feel, what they think. It doesn't matter about all that specific, all those little details and headlines.
Absolutely.
What matters is you're a floater. Mm-hmm. I'm a floater. Mm-hmm. We're all floaters, man.
Yeah.
And we're all going to the same place, and we're going to it fast.
Yeah.
And we need to evolve and breach all of the molds.
It's true.
All of the molds that have been set upon us, we need to crack every single shell that is in front of us, and we need to dig deep. Yeah. And dig deep with passion and find out what really matters.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that you mentioned he seemed really, just happy. If you would have known Sean a year ago,
really?
You would have been shocked. Really? You want to see what floating can do to a jerk?
Sure.
And I say that with love because so many people that have started this, that came into our spa day one, and they're still with us. They're like, Sean, you're a different person.
Yeah.
You're a totally different person. And he is. He used to not be a very nice person. And now he's a very nice person. And he's not so stressed and not so just on edge. I feel like there's a lot of us in Utah that might be on edge and a little pissy at each other in traffic.
Yeah.
We want to rip each other's heads off. And so it's so cool when you come out of the tank and you're just, like you said, on your drive home, I am way chill. Everyone around me can be flipping each other off and be hating each other.
And I would laugh. I would just be laughing. And I was laughing.
It's good. Yeah. You just cut me off. It's okay, man. You know? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine what would get done in Congress if everyone floated?
Absolutely.
I think we should give, Obama a float tank for Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think it would be awesome. I think everyone eventually, I would hope that we could evolve to the point where everyone could have one in the house. Like, it just comes standard, like a bathroom. There's a room strictly for that. You plug in at night or whatever you got to do right before you go to bed or whenever the best time is in the morning. Imagine if you could do it twice. That would be amazing. And then it's just the thing you have to do, just like paying taxes, you have to float to be a part of the society. It's like, instead of drug testing people that are on, whatever, it's just like, well, have you floated? And you have to float. And if you don't, then it's just like, okay, well, then you're going to get fined. Like, that would be an amazing world to be in if everyone could just be chill. And again, traffic would be better, people would be smoother. Jobs would be better. There wouldn't, half the jobs out there would be gone. People who scam over other people would be. It's just like, I think that'd be awesome. But then again, I don't want to put you out of business, so everyone's still going to them. But until that happens at 20, 50,000,
until you can afford your own pod,
then that will happen.
And if you want your own pod, we absolutely welcome that. I think that's great. Get a pod. We had one of our greatest clients that floated once, twice a week for 6 months straight. And finally he decided it was time. And he bought his own tank and he built his own room. And, it was so cool to see how much he had evolved and how many people said that he had evolved himself. And, we went to his house, we saw his tank, his room, and it was really exciting, to see that he was so passionate about it himself because he knew how much he had changed.
Yeah.
And so I think float tanks in everyone's house is a great idea.
I know Joe Rogan has one in his, and that's what. Anyways, I would love to have one. But my question is, both of you as floaters, so chill, so relaxed, and things. How do you ever find a bump with business? Sometimes, like sometimes you have to be an asshole to certain people or certain companies or banks or whatever it is. Do you ever find that sometimes you have to put on the other face and then go back to normal, or maybe just too relaxed that maybe business is slacking or you're not catching up because you're floating? Or do you feel that being at that perfect zen that you kind of life just seems to flow okay, and that those issues and those things happen less often, and that you don't have to be that asshole. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's great. We don't want to lie to people and make you think that our lives are perfect. And
sure, yeah.
Because we can do that, but that's not fair.
Sure.
It's hard. Life is hard, and floating makes it so we can have those times of peace and happiness. But yeah, sometimes we have to be jerks when you schedule out on our tanks and you don't show up. We're going to charge you a fee because we're the only float spa in the state of Utah. So for you to come and take our time, it's not just taking our time, it's taking other people's times to flow and experience that relaxation. So sometimes we have to be jerks when people don't show up, and we're like, sorry, we've got to charge you a fee because it's,
No, for sure.
it's a big deal.
So my question to you is, do you have to prepay your float in advance then?
Sometimes. Most of the time we just take a credit card. And we have a 24-hour cancellation notice. If you don't show up, it's $40, which is half the price of the float. If you are a chronic canceller, if you've canceled a couple times, Sweet Sean here is going to make you pay up front. And you show up, and then you get it, and you don't ever miss it again.
If you cancel once, you're prepaying for the rest of your life.
I love it. My aunt is listening. She's from Vegas. I don't know if there's any out there in Vegas. Do you know of? No? Maybe?
No.
See, that's
we want to open one in Vegas, but there's not.
That would be nice. You would think that a casino would have something like that, or a spa in their casino. Anyways, she's asking, what's the average age of a floater? Or, I mean, what's the youngest you've ever seen float?
It just varies. Anywhere from 18 to, 65.
Really?
Yeah, 70, 80. We've had people, in their 70s.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Let's see. We have another one. Okay, is floating helpful with problem solving, like going into it with a few things?
He's trying to say, okay. Would you say I have a whole bunch of problems, I have finals coming up or something?
Yes.
Is it good to float?
Very good. Very, very good. Yes, it is. And the reason why is because you go into that theta. You go into that theta state, and that's your creative. That's your problem solving. People will go into float to learn a new language because they'll learn it so much faster. Yeah, it does. It helps. I guess there's a float spa in LA, and it's booked out for like 3 months.
No way.
And it's because they literally just have businessmen that go in there all day long and problem solve. And go
smart.
Float and work out all their deals. So yes, absolutely, very good to be creative because sometimes you're told you need to shut down, you need to shut off, you need to shut off, you need to shut off in the tank, and that's good and all. But your floating can be different for different needs. One time you float to problem solve, one time you float to shut off, one time you float to be with yourself and do some soul searching. It's whatever you need to do in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love it. I'm trying to think of some ones.
So, do you think you can overfloat? Could you go every single day? Well, you can, of course. Do you think that's too much for your body to handle, or what's your opinion on that?
No, you should be good. You can come float every day. We'll take your money.
Yeah, that'd be great for you guys. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say is that this has been a huge thing for me. And I'm going to tell you what has happened amid all of this. I've told you a couple different little stories and particular floats and all that stuff, but the biggest deal that I've seen with floating is this can help one's psychological warfare that they go through every single day, that thing that grinds at your brain, that constantly tears you down and rips you apart and puts you into threads. That thing or that essence or that people or those persons, all of that stuff that's happening or is yet to happen, which is typically deemed from anxiety or things that have happened in the past, are deemed from depression. All that madness, you can let go of that stuff. And it's up to you to let go of it. A counselor, a therapist, a drug's not going to help you overcome that stuff. It's only you. And I have found that in the tank, you can psychologically find out what is good to hold on to and what is bad to hold on to. And you can honestly de-junk your mind of like, you know what, why am I stressing and feeling all this anxiety and pain and frustrate over this person or persons? Let me just step back and let all this stuff go. where it's no longer going to have dominion over me. And you take that power back that you deserve. I mean, you're a mortal being on this earth. You deserve to have a solid, stable mind, stable body, stable spirit. You deserve that. And you can find that in floating. You can honestly let go of all this craziness that constantly consumes your mind.
But we don't want to
Anyways, yeah, I mean that's
that's
how I.
But we love
that's
therapists.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
That's that's the real deal. So.
And we don't want to declassify therapists or anything like that. I mean, that's very important. That's very good. But
psychiatrists, they've got a great position. They've saved a lot of lives. Family counselors, they do great. Everybody does great. And I totally support all of their professions. I'm not devaluing them whatsoever. But what I am saying that if those things are not working for you, they're putting you at a dead end road. Come float.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, and also maybe you're not to the extent that you need a therapist. You just have the little head battle going on. You're sick of it. I mean, I think everyone does. It's you thinking you're talking to yourself up in your head. Really, it's not. I don't know how to explain it. Because you want to do something, you yourself, and then your brain starts to begin to tell you shouldn't do that. You'll get in trouble. Your business will fail. Whatever it is, it's just this giant battle again, like what you're saying, and it's just so you think floating can absolutely kind of. I know it did. For me, I mean, honestly, it just chilled me out to the point of my wife could have called me and said, we're going bankrupt. And I just would have been like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. And I would have just been chill. And I think, I don't know, I've heard that a lot. I guess a good worry that you were talking about is too much floating bad. But I know I've had a few friends do a lot of DMT. They smoke the DMT or whatever. And they have just completely gone, not all of them, I'm not speaking of all of them, but a lot of them have done it a lot, fast. And I don't know if that's maybe they're releasing way too much of the DMT too often, and there's just maybe it's trying to refill, and there's not enough of it, so that it's already. I don't know what it is, but they've changed. A lot of them are assholes. A lot of them are mean. A lot of them are completely different, and they've just gone. Childhood friends I'd grow up with are now I hardly ever see them because I can't be around them. They're so negative or anything. It's just these little comments, these things. But yet they would say, "Oh, DMT's the greatest. It's the best." And I agree with them. I think it is. It's in moderation.
All things in moderation.
But I think that, anyways, so there is a difference between too much with that and too much with you. Absolutely, I agree.
I think the other thing as well is that when it's not natural, you've got to be really careful. Like DMT is produced in almost everything around us and within our bodies ourselves. But the DMT that people use to take as a drug or smoke, it's very hard to get it natural. It's not pure. It's not as pure as what's in your mind.
Sure.
So, floating too much, I don't think that could ever be too much floating unless you're starting to upset your sleep patterns, and then you won't sleep as much. That's the only thing I could think of that it might not be so good to do it all the time because it throws off your sleep schedule. Mm-hmm. But yeah, all things in moderation. And if you're finding that it feels good and it helps you and it blesses your life, go for it, And
I will add, I mean, just to be totally honest, not that I haven't been up to this point, but, it can throw your sleeping patterns off if you float every single day. I mean, I was, and I didn't really find the need to sleep. Yeah. It was like, oh, it's 12, it's 3, I don't even care. I can't even go sleep because I just had 4 hours of undisturbed REM sleep. So, take it within moderation, once, twice a week. That kind of stuff. You'll be just perfectly fine.
I agree. What kind of things could you tell for first-time floaters to bring, to do at your facility? How do you guys take care of them? Why are you different than any other float spa out there, would you say, in your own personal way? How do you take care of a first-time floater, someone who's brand new to your place?
We give you a happy ending.
There you go.
Well, I used to be a catty girl. Hopefully not so much anymore. And when I would go to a spa, the first thing I wanted to do was get into a robe. If I didn't get into a robe at a spa, I was like, oh well. So when you come to my spa, you don't get into a robe.
Which means you don't get a happy ending. Yeah. Okay. But, anyways, I just had to get that out there.
Yeah.
But you come in, you relax for a few minutes, you drink a cup of tea, you get into the mood. We try to set the stage so that you start relaxing the second you come in the door. You feel like it's safe. There's no judgment. It doesn't matter what you look like or what you're wearing. You just come in and you're treated with respect and love. You come and you sit down and you watch a short little cartoon. It's 5 minutes long, but it's
very good. Whoever made it, fantastic.
Yeah, our buddies at True Rest, they made it, and then because we kind of partnered up with them on a couple things, they allowed us to use it. So it just explains a little bit more about the experience, so that you know what to expect in the tank, and some different breathing techniques. Ways to relax, ways to lay in the pod so that you get the best experience. And then we take you back and we show you the pod, and you're in your own room with a shower and your pod. You just bring a towel. We provide the soap, the shampoo, the earplugs, all that good stuff. So you shower, get all the goobers off of you, and then you get in the tank and shut the lid.
Naked, I presume, right?
Naked.
Okay.
You can wear a swimsuit, but the biggest thing is for you to be as relaxed as possible.
So explain really quick why some people call it sensory deprivation. I think that comes into play with what you're talking about. You get in naked because the water temperature. I mean, why is it sensory deprivation?
Yeah, so the sensory deprivation part is that the water is heated to a certain temperature, so your body is tricked into thinking it's floating. It doesn't know where the water starts and where it ends, so it's like you're in midair. So the swimsuit can kind of take away from that a little bit, but you shut the lid and it takes the light completely out. So your eyes, it doesn't matter if your eyes are open or closed, because if you start to see, you can't see. So it takes away from that. So it's basically sensory deprivation of those two things.
How deep is the water in the pot?
So it's only about 1.5 feet deep.
But
so
you can't touch. I mean, you were so buoyant, it's like...
Yeah, you can't drown in my tank. You could try, but you would literally have to purposefully drown. So you just get in and you float for an hour. You can have music the whole time. You can have lights the whole time.
That's what I was going to ask you. Have you ever had people come in and just do, what's it called, binaural beats or just like this? Because I love that you guys did that, because the other place I went to did not. And I love that it really sets you into that mood. It's like, all right, well, how long is it? 10, 15 minutes?
10 minutes.
And it's perfect. It's just right around that time. And then once it goes black, it's just like, okay. And you're about ready to go. But I like that you guys do that a lot. But that's cool that you offer the option to do that.
You can also bring your own music. You can bring your own, whatever you want to listen to in the tank, you can bring that. We can set that up in one of our pods. So if you wanted to learn a language, you could. If you wanted to have motivational speaking, you could.
That would be, I think that'd be really good. That's
binaural beats for relaxing and for invigorating. So like cute Allison Dudek, she's an Olympian who's in Sochi right now.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Okay, talk about that real quick.
She floats. And so she came and floated before some of her competitions to make it into Sochi. And so that was really cool.
And she made it. And she won. Did she win bronze?
She won bronze the last Olympics. So
awesome.
We were
Has
watching. Well, we saw late last night at like 10:30 at night. She was on TV. We're like, "There's our Allison."
Yeah, that's awesome.
There she is. And I couldn't look because I didn't want to see if she won or lost. So I can't tell you right now if she has yet. But so you can come and float and have those binaural beats that'll get you invigorated and pumped up. So, but I mean, you can float for that. You can float for tests. You can float for competitions. You can float for anything. We had a guy that actually bought his own tank up north. He's a fighter. He's an MMA fighter, and he would float before his fights. And
see, I don't know if that would be good sometimes, though. I think,
but he would.
Training,
and I like to think
I think I would just get in there like, why do I want to fight? Fight? What? I did the exact opposite.
I can't watch it.
I quit.
Either.
I'm done. No, but that's awesome.
But yeah, he won, and I like to think that we helped with that. But
no, you have.
Great guy, and uses it for that, and so you can use it for anything.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what other type of things can you say about floating, or do you want to get out to customers? Why else should they come to you? I mean, you offer massages. I think what days is there a certain time, or I mean, do you guys do that?
We do,
Okay.
and that's my absolute favorite. I'm spoiled because
Sure.
I will get a
Yeah,
massage
you're lucky.
and then I'll float right after, and oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I've got a cute little massage therapist that's there nights and weekends, and so you can couple that with your float. We also do something called Reiki. If
Oh, okay,
you've ever
Reiki,
heard
yeah.
of energy work, it is amazing. And I wasn't a believer at first. And then I did it.
How many sessions have you done, or did
3?
3? Okay, yeah, I did
3.
1, and it was kind of like a healing process. As weird as it was like this. If I remember, I think I got Reiki. Is that where they kind of get their hands and they?
I don't know
maybe
what
not.
you got. No,
Okay,
I'm
then
kidding.
I don't know.
Yes. No,
Hopefully
that's it.
not.
That's it.
But yeah, okay. So,
But like anything homeopathic or natural, it takes twice as long, but it's twice as effective.
yeah.
And it's amazing. But it does take longer. So yeah, Reiki and floating and anything natural will take, 4 to 6 weeks to kick in, they say with herbs and things like that. So it takes
Very
time.
true.
But yes, it's very cool. So we have Reiki at our spa too.
That's
and
awesome.
It's great. So
How much do those things cost? Like a massage? Is it a 60-minute massage, 30 minutes? What do you guys do?
So I think what is our prices? I'm not as familiar with it because I let our massage therapist
Do it.
Larissa.
So you
choose
just
it.
have
But
to
I
go
think
and find out.
I think it's 60 for an hour and then 80 for an hour and a half. It's
really good.
spoken deal. It's
And she's
it's
really good?
She is really
Awesome. Awesome.
good. I use her so.
Yeah, you're probably lucky.
Yes.
Trying to think of other questions. What other things could you talk about with floating, sensory deprivation, entrepreneurship? Anything you want to get out to any listeners to come out your way?
It's your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think it's a huge honor to own this float spa, and it's a huge honor to bring it to Salt Lake City.
I agree.
And I'm just so stoked for any single person. More than 50% of this city is non-LDS. Awesome, come on in. Less than 50% are LDS. Come on in. Just let go of all that stuff and live in the moment.
I can't agree more.
Try to take that whole concept of reality and make it one. Make it a reality.
Right. Yeah.
That whole concept of like, you know what? I'm going to be happy today. Or you know what? I can dictate my happiness. Yeah, you take that power back.
Yeah.
You rise above all this stuff.
I agree.
And you start focusing on consciousness, stillness, awareness, that type of stuff. And then all of a sudden the game changes. Because it's no longer about what you've done or what you're going to do. It's what you're doing. And, if you can get a good handle on that, more power to you.
Yeah.
And if you want to give us a shout out online after that happens, that would be greatly appreciated. Maybe I'll throw on a free float for you or whatever. You know?
People, so I love small businesses because a lot of people don't realize, it's passion that's driving you to do this. It's not always about the money, and this is great. That's a perk, that's a benefit, that's awesome. But a lot of it's just the passion, and that you two both have that passion. You can tell, you can see, and I think it really shows when you walk into your doors, because it really, do you want some water? Do you want some tea? Like, that's really cool. Most places you go, it's just like, water, oh, that's 25 cents over here in our vending machine. It's like, it's cool that you guys set the mood, and that's what I loved about your spa compared to other spas I've been to. But that you really set the mood, the place, it's fantastic, and it calms you down.
And in addition to that, I wanted to tell you guys that I know money is very important, and I know that money is what puts gas in our car, takes care of the roof over our heads, but money will come and money will go. And I'm telling you, if you've got $200 or $300 and you want to find a different level of awareness or understanding of this life, come drop it down on a 3 pass, man.
Yeah.
It's $123. What do you have to lose?
Well, and it's tax time, so you got a tax refund. Go use a little bit besides the new TV. Why not actually benefit, get smarter, feel better?
I want this thing to blow your mind. I want you to look back and say, I cannot believe that I almost resisted paying $123.
Yeah.
Like, that's retarded for me not to do that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No.
I want everybody to have those experiences where they're just like, you know what?
I'm so glad that I
did that.
Yeah. And it's easy for me to explain, and so many people will always ask me. They'll always ask. They'll ask. And the hardest part I've noticed about people is they don't take action. A lot of people, it's just a bunch of talk. They just talk. They'll talk. Oh, that's cool. I want to talk about this, hear about this. But when it comes down to it, they would rather, I don't know, they just would always ask me. And I remember I kind of coach, but kind of don't. I don't know. I've played back and forth with this law of attraction thing, but I love learning about positive psychology. And so many people every day, 5, 6, 7, message me about their current situation. I'll give my advice to them just for fun because I love to do it. Again, it's kind of like you. You love seeing people walk out of your place, smile, happy, completely different. Me, I love helping and get someone to answer and changing their life. Maybe in that moment, maybe the life, I don't know. And that's why I do this podcast on the side, because maybe one thing will click with someone tonight. Or one advice, or maybe that quote about whatever. It's just that something will click with someone if they get it. Maybe they'll decide to start taking action. And I think that the losers in life are those who don't take action. You lose out on this kind of experience if you don't take certain action. And it's at the end of the day, you're just going to go on the ground. You're going to get in this lovely coffin that they paid thousands of dollars for. I bring this up a lot, but I just had a buddy die like a month ago, and at the end of the day, we just put him in the ground, and that was it. And we walked off, and I'm like, and he was 20, I think he was 21, 22, and that was it. And it was like, oh, well, he lived his life, and that was the beautiful part about it. It was a beautiful for me because I was like, okay, he lived his life. When he said he was going to go on a road trip, he packed his stuff up, asked if anyone wanted to come, and he'd still go whether someone came or not. He took action. Yeah. And so I don't want to say it was a learning lesson and that he had to die for my learning lesson, but that was a big moment for me to realize, start taking action. Podcast, I want to start doing it. Okay, take action. Risk a little bit. Ask someone, do you want to be on my show? I know I've never met you. I don't know, but would you like to be on my show? Like taking action instead of just this, whoa, that would be really cool to have someone like that on my show. And never take an action, and never ask, or never, anyway, so I've started to live every day kind of like tomorrow. Or, I guess we talked about this last night, that if I go upstairs tonight and my heart stops, then I know I did everything I could possibly do to make my life better, hopefully my wife's better, and anyone else's who's listening or that was around me, that I was, I'm just an energy source. And hopefully, I learned from Ryan, he learns from me, I learn from you, we're all learning, that's all life's about. But anyways, take an action.
Bless your heart. Oh my gosh, it couldn't be said better, man.
Thank you, man.
You should be owning this phone spot. You want to buy it?
Well, anyways,
in addition to that, face your fears, overcome your fears. Mm-hmm. Nothing in life has ever become or evolved because of fear. I can tell you honestly right now,
you're right.
Dude, fear does not even consume me. Mm-hmm. I'm fearless. I love this. I love the liberation of fearless.
Yeah.
Like, if I die tomorrow, who cares?
If
I die right now, hey, if I die right now, Danielle's going to get her money and
open up another float.
Go on.
Life will go on. She knew exactly who I was, how I felt, and what I wanted to portray to her. So hopefully she'll live a good, happy life.
Yeah.
With Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Let us live in the moment. Mm-hmm. And not worry about fear, or not let fear control us.
Yeah.
Let's take that power back. I love that song with Rage Against the Machine. Take the power back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any Rage Against the Machine is classic. I love what you're saying. What other life goals or tips can you give about your self-experience? Fearless. And I came to this point about probably the first of the summer. Moved in, started getting everything ready to go here at the house, and I just started... I got sick of just the regular stuff. I became sick of just always wanting to take action but never did. And I forgot where I was even going with this. I'm that ADD. Anyways, the point is, I love what you're doing. I want to, what other advice can you give for those who want to take action, maybe are scared, that are living in fear, what are some many steps they can take to get out of fear or to break, to be fearless?
You want me to say? Okay, well, be fearless, but with my little, think inside the box mind, I make your steps. Make your steps so it's not so scary, so it's not so untouchable, so it's not so out of reach. If you want something, you hear it all the time. You want something, go get it, go get it. It's, okay, but how? What's the first thing I got to do? Well, you first want it, which is great. So make your game plan. Make your steps. Make yourself accessible. If you're tied down with all this debt, with all this sorrow, with all this or that, if you're not where you want to be, you start with your steps. Yeah. That's what I would say. And get yourself accessible. No debt, things like that can help you so that you can start doing what you want to do.
It's an amazing feeling to stop living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And without my wife, or I'm sure the same, I would have been, and I was, until she taught me, wait, you can just hold this amount. You don't have, just because you get paid this much doesn't mean you have to spend that much within the next 2 weeks to your next one. And I was constantly doing that. I'm like, I have $300 left. Well, I would go to the mall. I need new shoes. I need to go get all these colored Vans. I've got to get this. And it was just blowing all kinds of money. But I think that's an amazing feeling to finally get at that point of you have security and now you can have fun. And that's why you guys got to have a good life. I mean, I'm saying everyone's got a good life, but just to be at the point where you're having great financial success, you guys are doing awesome, you're building, plus you guys are the faces of it. And that's a good feeling too. And then also just floating all the time and all these things like that. You can just really be stress-free and have fun. Yes, your parents and you, but I bet you're better parents because of floating. I want to throw that out probably too, because you at least are on a different level, or the kids' level. Maybe, I don't know. Well,
I think also in order to overcome fear, you must seriously consider obtaining this precious, precious word called love. You have got to dig deep and find love for yourself, first and foremost. If you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody around you. So focus on loving yourself.
We talked about that last night on the show. And just that everyone has a glowing ball of love, and sometimes people put it in the hands of, hey, Ryan, hold on to my love, if I was dating Ryan for some reason, which he'd be a lucky man. I would give him, anyways, my love and just say, hold on to it and have fun. And then now he has all the power in the relationship, whereas now I've got to text to make sure he's doing okay. And I am now kind of his slave because I handed my love, my happiness, everything in this guy's hand. Yeah. Instead of having it 50-50 where let's love together and let's just hold on to our love and be happy with ourselves, by ourselves. And if my wife is happy by herself, with herself, then we're going to be happy together because we're both on the same level. And again, not bored with each other. But go on. Oh, yeah. Some more love.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with love.
Smile at somebody at the gas station. Maybe put your hand on their arm and say, hey, you doing okay?
Yeah.
If you see somebody trip and fall, pick them up.
Always. Yeah.
Somebody needs to get in the gas station, let them go first.
Yeah. Hold the door for them. Even something like that, or just, you know what I've noticed, and we've talked about this.
Hold your head high. Put your chest out.
Yeah.
And
Facebook commenting, as weird as this is, back in the day when Facebook was Facebook, people used to write on walls. They actually used to give nice comments, or you're doing so good, or when are we going to hang out next time? Now, I don't know how anyone else feels, but if I get a Facebook, if I see it says, so-and-so wrote on your wall, it's like, oh, whoa, someone took the time, 5 seconds out of the day to say, hey, how are you doing? Or thanks for the podcast, or I really like the guest, or you guys, or whatever it is, but just saying, hey, I love you, thank you. That's how I feel love, at least, is just a little bit of credit and a little recommendation, but that's what I try to do, is I try to go out of my way, and instead of just texting a friend, it's like, why not do it publicly so other people can see too? And that person, can feel good, but it's just, I don't know. It's funny. People don't do that. And even just a little Facebook comment, not just on their walls, makes someone's day all the time, every time. Or even a funny picture, thought of you, whatever it is. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking crazy, but I think that it just makes people's day, and it makes my day because I know it's going to make that person's day.
That's what floating did for me, was that it made me come off my high horse, because I used to be, everybody's in my way and it's about me and I've got to get here and you just did a stupid thing because it wasn't the way I would do it. And, I need to make everybody feel like they're below me. And after floating, I just feel like wherever I go, I want everybody to feel like they're better than me. They're on my level or better. And so, you know, it was funny. Last Saturday, I was waiting for my sandwich at Paradise Bakery, and there was this cute little family, a grandpa and his 2 daughters and his grandson. And I just watched them for a few minutes, and they were just so cute. And I'm like, I want to say something. No, they'll just think I'm dumb.
Yeah, it's that battle.
But you know what? I'm like, but who cares? Let's give them something to talk about. Yeah. So I walked over there before my food was even ready, so I would have to stand there 10 minutes or 10 seconds afterwards so that they would analyze me. But I wanted to tell them that I thought they had a beautiful family, that they were cute. And they were like, thanks. And then I stood there and waited another couple minutes, and then I left. But it was like, you know what? Let me be that one person that made them feel like somebody was watching them and that they were doing good. Awesome. You know, when they didn't think anybody was looking. And that's what this whole thing is about. I feel like, because I'm not from Utah, and I do like Utah, but I feel like we are so mean to each other here. We're so mean. We're so critical. We cut each other down. There's so much pressure to be this perfect Pinterest mom that makes the greatest birthdays and the best presents and all the Valentine's crap that's coming up. I've got to have like the best Valentine's for my daughter to give to school. And it's like, let's just stop doing that to each other. Let's just stop making each other feel like we've got to be something that we're not. If you are that woman and you can do that, good for you. But if the next person isn't and can't and doesn't...
Don't make them feel bad or belittle them.
You know, she showered today and that was the best thing and the highlight of her day. And she didn't freak out on her kids. That's great. Let's make people feel good about the small steps and the small things. And if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to build your own life and be successful and be happy, then gauge your success not by how much money you make, but by how many people you make feel good. Because that is success in my eyes.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, again, it's kind of going back to the death, but if I was on my deathbed and I could actually have the option to say goodbye to everyone before I go, how many people will be in that hospital room or my bedroom or wherever it's going to be? Will it be filled or will there be 2 or 3? And that's what bankers need to realize. That's what people need to realize. They're just, most family are waiting for them. I know I have a good friend and their mom just, it's a weird situation. His wife's mom died and now they're waiting for the dad to pass away because they know they're going to get X amount of money. And they're like, but that's how they're thinking. I'm like, that's how he's gauging his life. I said, well, what are you guys going to move into a house? What do you guys want to do? Oh, we're just going to wait. And I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? Well, you know, just going to, you know, and when they pass, they've got a lot of money, so we'll get it. So then we'll just start from there. It's like, so it kind of is sad because they're not losing, they don't have a drive to make themselves happy or success or to passion. It's more, we have this plan and this is how it's going to work. And until then, sit on the couch and we're just going to chill.
And if you need a big amount of money for your happiness, you got the wrong idea about happiness.
Yeah, that stuff's going to fade, man. Everybody that's waiting for their handout or waiting for their inheritance, guess what? Wait your life away. It'll come, it'll go. And you'll be stuck with the same old you.
Because that money's not even your money.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to blow it easy.
But above and beyond that, like in my funeral, I want streets and like cities to be shut down. Like I knew that guy.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know, I know what you're saying.
I knew that guy, and that guy really helped me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, like exactly. I want it to be a big party in my funeral,
a celebration. I've always said that. I've gone to so many funerals where it's just so sad, and everyone is just talking. Anyways, I don't like it. You know, I can't change it. They're gonna. I mean, I get it. The family's gonna mourn. You have to. I get it. But for me, I just want to be like how it was for my friend who just passed away. For me, I was happy because I knew he had lived his extent of a fully life, did anything and everything he possibly could. And then when he went out, he went out. But others, you know, who didn't know him were so sad because, you know, he grew up Mormon and then kind of slowly he faded away, left it, and was just living what made him happy and was making others happy. But to certain ward members or people that I grew up, and we all grew up in the same neighborhood, but they were so sad because they thought, you know, he's not going to make it to heaven. It's not going to do this. You know, and they're so sad for the family because they know they'll never see their son again. I mean, stupid psychological stuff. And I'm like, you guys are so silly. Like, you're silly. And it made it such a doom and gloom wedding. I mean, not wedding, funeral, where it's just like, You guys are silly. It just, anyways, that was something that was just really a weird thought for me to be like, people really believe that this would happen because he lived his full extent of life and was happy and making others happy and was, if there's a God, I get it. And he would never reject this human being who is such a good person because of certain things, guidelines. And it was just sad to see the family and everyone's so sad. And, the bishops or everyone talk that, of course they never say it, but everyone knows it. And it was just a hard and weird feeling. Whereas in me and my other friends who have all, knew him really well, knew, he's fine. Everything's okay.
And
it was weird.
That's one thing that I think, especially in Utah, where most are Mormon or 50% are Mormon, like if someone falls away from the church, there's a level of fear. And I think that's where the attitudes and the comments or the feelings come from. It's from a place of fear, not a place of confidence. If someone falls away from the church, you know what? You just love them. Mm-hmm. It's okay. You just love them. All things will be made right one day. And we are not his maker and we're not his judge. So it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Let us be the best person that we can be and let us have our own relationships with our own God. And let us decide what our journey is.
Absolutely.
That's what I think. And if someone decides that's not for me right now, or I'm not going to be Mormon or whatever, just love them. Love them and respect them and respect yourself, because all things will be made right one day.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, is that like in a year, I don't believe we've even had one conversation religious-wise in our spa. And I'm so grateful for it. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right.
Buddhist or Mormon, I don't care. Bring them all. Mm-hmm. Bring everybody that's agnostic. I don't care.
Exactly.
Let us all just find love and happiness and a better way to be us.
Yeah.
A better way to be you. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. I think that's the, again, I'm hoping that becomes this place. I hope that we all eventually become evolved in our thinking, and that's what it's going to have to take. Otherwise, we're going to go downhill fast. But I don't even want to think that way. I just think, I don't know. I wish there was a certain place that we could all just go that already are on this level, go make our own little Atlantis, and then everyone can have their fun or whatever, and as they evolve, they can come on over. Like a zen, like a safe place, other than just one little float spa.
Like
if it was a country, if it was an island, I don't care.
Hang out there for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Don't go, and everybody that keeps floating, just tell them to stay.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
There we go.
There's that place.
Yeah.
And so...
just kind of have a smoothie bar or something out in front.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that this generation right now, 2014, come on now. It's time to shatter some molds. Take that perfect piece of glass and shatter it. Mm-hmm. Pick up the pieces and start over. Mold it into a brand new, beautiful piece of glass instead of an old, dainty one. Mm-hmm. Let's just step that thing up, and let's shatter the molds that define us. Let's shatter the preconceived notions that control us. Let's shatter the way that we're feeling and thinking, which is not getting us anywhere. And let's become people that are praiseworthy and happy and full of this spirit that comes from this God that we don't even know. Mm-hmm. Let us access that spirit of happiness, that spirit of tranquility, and that is where we want to go. When you receive that from whomever, whether it's some higher power of whatever regard, it doesn't even matter. The whole awesomeness in it is receiving that power of tranquility, of, I hate to bring it to Katy Perry, but I mean, she was talking about supernatural, man. Let us all become supernatural creatures of this world.
I agree.
And live way beyond the world. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, it's such a good place that, like what you were saying, still, we're kind of going back to the whole point of you saying you became fearless. And that, when I started this podcast, I was a little feared. I was scared. I'm like, what are people going to think? And then slowly, as each episode's gone, I become way more less, again, fearless. I don't care what people think about me anymore. I'm going to publicly say who I am, and no one's going to expect Christian to not be anything other than me. And and they know who I am now, and I can publicly say anything I want to. If you get offended, people need to learn sometimes. Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. So many people get offended, and they don't realize that doesn't make you right because you got offended. That's something to do with your ego, or that has something to do with your hard drive, your program that you threw in your computer brain. Delete it. Again, shatter it. Make a mosaic art. The most beautiful art there is. Put those shattered pieces of glass together and say, hey, why don't we do this? And I like my art and you like your art. And if you don't like mine, that's fine. But it's art. You made it yourself. My painting, I love because I made this. And you made, it's interesting, it's beautiful, but you're going to love your art more because that's your art. You made it. Your passion, your heart. Make your life art. That was good.
Well said.
Right? Yeah,
I love that word.
That was good.
That word that you just said.
Which one? Which
Ego.
one? Ego. No, yeah. People need to drop it, lose it.
They've got to drop their egos. Man, they've got to look at that ego face to face and say, you know what? You almost have to have an out-of-body experience all day long.
I agree.
All day long. Let's all have.
Floating is where I could...
Let's talk about it right now.
Okay,
let's talk about out-of-body experiences, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ego, okay?
Let's go.
And this mic right here is the ego.
Okay.
And you are you, and I am... And we've got 4 people at this table. Mm-hmm. And guess what? We're going to look at the ego and say, you know what? That's not going to control us. At this given time, I'm not going to act like this when this guy cuts me off. Mm-hmm. So I will deny myself acting like a jerk. And so guess what? You just looked at your ego face on, which is the mic amongst all of us, and we decided to go down a different road.
Yep.
You know what? I'm gonna decide not to freak out on my wife or be a jerk to society.
Sure.
Okay, guess what? I just looked at the ego and said, you know what? I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a different path of different resistance, and I will not subject myself to ego.
Yeah.
That is the essence of self-refinement. Mm-hmm. Acknowledging the things that constantly blast it like big billboards right in front of our eyes, and just kind of fishing through them and just saying, you know what? That will not define me, and that will not control me. Yeah. And that is taking the power back, is refining that ego. Because ego and confidence is a good thing if it's taken within.
It's done the right way.
If it's, yeah.
I want to make a sign and put it in the spa that says, please leave your ego outside.
You can make a sticker if you want.
There you go.
Make it.
Vinyl sticker.
And you're more than welcome to pick it up on your way out if it's still there.
Yeah.
Because, that's what it is. People will come in with, the big chuck shoulders and attitude. And when they go down that hallway and they come back, it's like gone. Mm-hmm. And it's so cool to see that physical transformation. People will... It's gone. Like their shoulders are down and they're at peace. And like you say, it's the glow. You can see it.
You totally can.
The ego is gone, and it's really cool.
Now, I have another question really quick. And maybe my wife and I have kind of ran into this. But so you have friends, right? And hopefully they've all dropped you. So you have friends, and you guys are doing successful. You're being happy. You're doing what you love, and you guys are happy because you really, again, you're doing what you love, and that has made you money. So sustaining that, have you had friends? Have you noticed that maybe some close friends or certain people, maybe with that ego, have, you throw up a thing on Facebook for your business. They've seen it or whatever, but they've never liked it. They've never shared, saying, hey, you know what? I like your company. I'm going to go out of my way to shout this out on my podcast because I believe in your company. Have you noticed maybe you don't have certain friends or people who avoid that, who don't support it because it's almost their ego or like, well, I know they're doing good, but I don't want to really assist them with doing good. But they're still pretending to be your friends. And they're, oh, that's good. But you can tell that they've never came in to float once. They've never assisted you. They've never shouted you out and said, oh my gosh, I'm happy. Really asked how you guys are doing. What's your business? Come show me. I want to see it. Whereas then maybe it's just been like, oh, that's good. And we've ran into that a lot. But yes, no, similar?
There was a quote from Dr. Laura that was very important.
Love Dr. Laura.
And I'm telling you what she said. It just hit me like a lightning bolt. It said, we need to stop crossing oceans for people that will not jump puddles for us.
That's beautiful.
We need to stop crossing oceans for people that will not jump puddles for us. There you go. Now,
that says it all.
Rather all these people that are family interconnected, disconnected, second cousins, whatever, all these people that think we really believe that are our best friends. That's not really the case.
Yeah.
It really isn't. Not to say I've denied myself my family and my friends.
Sure.
But I tell you what, I don't see a whole lot of my family or friends in here.
Well,
so I'm starting brand new friendships, man.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we just barely met, like, what, an hour and a half ago?
Yep.
And you probably feel like you've known me for at least 2 years, right?
Because we actually sat down and had a conversation. Yeah, no, it's so
So
true,
I'm making new friends, seriously. That's all we've been doing for the last year.
That's what I've been trying to do. I think so many people are scared to sometimes.
Yeah.
Or maybe they see I don't know if they see me on Facebook and they just think that, I don't know what they think. But there's so many times where I'm like, I want to go ghost hunting. I'm into paranormal stuff. I love just what is happening after life. What is out there? Is there a little science behind it? So I'll offer people, do you want to come on a ghost hunt with me?
Dude, I want to go. How much do you charge?
Nothing.
Let's go for fun.
No, he charges a float.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I'll give you a 10 pass if I have an out-of-body experience.
Yeah. So anyways, I'll throw that out there and just say, hey, let's have a fun experience. Let's just hang out for a good hour and a half. And so many, just barely, for the first time, I actually had 3 people say, I want to go. But previous of not just ghost experience, but like with anything and everything I try to do or invite people to, or even the podcast, kind of talk about this whole success thing, but I have so many friends who won't jump a puddle to hit play once or listen or something because they don't want to see someone doing, and I don't want to say I'm doing better, but they don't want to see that I'm having fun with my art or that people are actually listening or viewing my art.
Or that they just really, truly care. Like, you can have friends that are your friend because it's convenient.
Yeah.
But when it's inconvenient and that friend is there, then you know it's a true friend. When it takes them out of their comfort zone, when they have to bend over backwards, when they need to get off their butt and send a text message or even a phone call, or better yet, go to their house.
Yeah.
We are in such a society now that it's like, let's distance ourselves. Let's not get too close. It's like, it's just so unpersonal. And when you have a friend that reaches out, that's willing to be your friend and do whatever it takes and be there for you and like your Facebook page and comment on this and that or share this or that. That's what, then you know you have a good true friend. And we've got lots of great friends that we care about and that have been very supportive in this whole journey. But we can probably put it on, our hands of how many people have really been supportive, shown up at our spa, been there at tough times, took our kids when we had to show up at 12 o'clock at the spa to take care of pond scum. It's when it gets down to the nitty gritty, there's not a whole lot of, it's not as many as you thought it was.
Now my question is, how do you deal with that? I mean, those certain people and those friends, do you continue to pretend sometimes that you're still your good friends? I mean, do you just stop talking to them, or do you politely just have little talks? What do you? I think if someone treats you that way, what do you do?
I think the best way to handle it is with love.
Just love
and limit your phone calls. Limit your appearances, and find a different way of the relationship. See what that does. I mean, if the ways that you're doing every single day are not working, I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
We have got to break the molds. We've got to, hey, you know what? I don't want to talk to this person for a month. I want to see if anything comes of it.
No, that's a great point. It just made sense totally to my head because there's so many friends who are like, oh, let's hang out, let's do this. And when I'll extend it and I'll continue doing the same thing, it drives me insane because it'll show even the text seen, but no reply. And then when I say, like, oh, hey, you should have came. Oh, sorry, man, I got your text. And it's like, you're so silly. Yeah, what are you talking about,
Silly's
man?
a sweet word.
Yeah, I have to because I would love to say other words, but silly is the best way. And it's just, people are just...
You have to distance yourself. You can't put in more than what they're going to put in. So you have to gauge it. You have to be in tune with them and in tune with yourself. And okay if you're not on their radar. Okay, if that's not what you want to do, if you don't want to be that support for me, if you don't want to be that close, you know what? That's the way it is. It's okay. I'm here and I love you. And so that's what we've done is you just love them. And my Reiki worker was great. She told me, like, my personality, you're a Pisces. You're all over the place. You're a fish. You're here. You imprint on everyone. Mm-hmm. So everyone is important to you. So if I don't get that friendship back from everyone, I used to take it very personal. And now I'm like, you know what? It's okay. If they're not going to put in what I put in, then I'll scale it back. Mm-hmm. But I'm still going to love them, and I'm always going to be here. And when they come back to me, sure, sometimes I feel like I want to be like, yeah, you suck. Now you show up. Yeah. But, no, just love them. Okay. Because you don't want to be... I like to have this saying, I don't ever want anything on me. I don't want you to have anything on me. Meaning, you can't pin anything on me. I was never a jerk to you. I never, it's like...
Great point.
Just love them.
Thing in addition to that is, I would say 95% of all the things that consume our minds are within our own control. Meaning, if you have a relationship, if you're in a relationship, or if you have a relationship with a loved one or a friend, and it consumes you by the things they say, the things they do, the things they don't do, and it causes you a lot of pain, that pain that you feel every single day is 90% your fault. Not their fault, your fault. And you've got to find a way to let go of that pain. Let go of why you cause yourself that pain.
Yeah. Let
go of, why is this causing me pain? And it almost becomes just like a light switch. You know what? You just flip it on. You're just like, okay, pain, off pain.
Yeah.
On pain, off pain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And let's just make a mechanical light switch or something. Let's make some sweatshirts or something so people can turn the pain on and off.
I think that'd be fantastic.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it really comes down to choice. Mm-hmm. You have to choose to let go of that pain that controls you. Yeah. And it's your fault. It really is. Take accountability, have some self-respect, have some evolvement, and just say, you know what? Yep, you're right. I'm sick of blaming others. I will not blame others anymore, and I will take the power back. And I will flip the light switch so it's off. Mm-hmm. That light that controls me is off. It's pitch black. Yeah. There you go. And I'm on a journey in this relationship with pitch black. Or I'm in a journey in this relationship with straight light or straight sunniness, whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's really that simple.
I agree.
But it's very complicated as well.
That's the hardest part, is most things in life are really very simple. You can be said simple. Yeah. And then when you really start thinking, I think we overthink. I think that's what it is. Mm-hmm. We just really overthink a certain situation that really is simple. How do you take people who badmouth business, or have you ever had negative reviews or anything? I mean, so we just had a recent thing. It's another shop versus our shop who said some nasty comments. It was spreading some bull crap about my wife and I. I won't get into details because we may take it legal. But how do you take people and bad reviews? And I mean, I know we didn't take it personally. Well, we did. But then last night we kind of just let it go. But then, anyways, how do you deal with that?
Well, the best person to talk to is Danielle. Go ahead. Explain what we did on that one not review. Let's stay away from the review, but what was it? That bathtub experience thing? That one guy said on Facebook? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, so there was this one guy who was like, yeah, I could pretty much float in my bathtub. We'll just put a bunch of salt in there and have the same experience. And I wanted to be like, yeah, go ahead and put 900 pounds in your bathtub and see what happens when your bathtub falls through the ceiling. That's a great idea. We've had a few. No, I don't want to say a few. I think we've had 2 bad situations, and it wasn't us. It was that person with way too much ego to even function. Yeah. That I just had to say, you know what? This is not the place for you. Yeah. Actually, it's probably the best place for you. Yeah. And I need to buy you your own tank and put it in your house for you. But I can't. So it was just, I can't make you happy, and I'm not going to try until you're ready to just let all of the ego go. So you get it every once in a while. But really, I like to pride myself and Sean on how we do our business. Customer service is a huge thing. And like I've said, when people cancel, that's usually where people get upset. Honestly, the only place really I can think of where they get upset is where we have to charge cancellation fee, and we work through it. But it's hard because people don't want to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. People don't want to be like, well, I scheduled your time and I couldn't make it, so why is it my fault? Why do I have to pay for that? We have some
our time and is valuable
people don't like to take responsibility sometimes.
But what she did is she posted that thing on Facebook. There was a post that said, oh, yeah, sensory deprivation. Yeah, I can do that in my bathtub with $5 worth of salt. And so what she did is she posted it on her Facebook for open discussion with 1,000 people of likes. Mm-hmm. And so everybody started educating this person that had a way of deceiving other people.
Yeah.
And guess what? Whether he floats or he doesn't float, at least he's educated now.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're saying.
It was great. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, you're fearless.
It's hard. You want to like put people in their place, but that is the whole exact opposite of what we do and the whole purpose of what we do. So it's been cool to see the way that we've changed and how we handle things, where it's like, look, we're a business owner. It doesn't matter if we're right because we know we're right. What can we do to fix this? What can we do to make you feel better? Because honestly, if you don't float at my place, you're not going to float anywhere.
No, it's true. And
you need to be floating. So let's make this right, because you need floating in your life.
Yeah.
And that's really,
And we've really switched gears, that this is not just a one-time fix. Like, we're really pushing the product that, hey, you really want to understand this therapy? All right. Double down. Let's get you a 3-pass. I'll take care of you for 123.
Yep.
You tell me I guarantee you're going to have like 3 100% different experiences. And you tell me about them. Yep. And if you don't want to tell me about them, tell all your friends.
Yeah.
Instead of putting a label on this floating stuff on one float, because, you really can't understand it in one float. There's a lot of people that do, but most people don't, Come in and try it a few times. So.
It's fantastic, you guys. You guys are changing it. You guys are changing the world in small, many ways, because if you can just change one person, and maybe someone comes up with a great idea, maybe an invention, maybe a business, maybe they decide they want to be a singer, maybe they want to go to the Olympics or fight or win.
Just give me a 2% royalty on every single thing, please.
I will.
Sean's talking like he's all about the money here, but this guy is one that just does not. That's the cool thing about Sean, is that he has a lot of confidence, and it eludes and has gotten him where he has. But it's sometimes when you very first meet him, you can confuse that for maybe ego, but then you get to know him and you realize that he just really does have that much peace with himself.
I think that's where people get stuck with me, is maybe, I don't know, that they think it's ego, but it's the exact opposite. Because
you're
if they can just
so
hear when we're
comfortable
talking,
in your skin.
Yeah.
That it's just...
It bugs other people that they're not.
Yeah,
and so that's why I think it sets them off, and they're scared. And they
Absolutely.
Silly is what it is. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or that you would like to throw out there, or maybe another good motivational speech you can give to someone before we end this podcast-ish? What do you think?
Dang it. I have so many great things that I have prepared, especially for the one day I was going to be on Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Well, now it's never going to happen.
Quit. Yeah,
so now I have nothing to share to build up anybody.
Yeah, that Fallon guy. I don't know. But,
dang it.
Just trying to think.
Life is too short and too precious, and it is not spent, and it should not be spent being unhappy or miserable or frustrated or stressed. Life is meant to be happy. I can remember times in my life where I was so incredibly happy in just some short moments because I just felt so inspired. I was so at peace with what was going on around me. I'm a very visual person. I love beautiful things. I love to see beautiful sceneries and listen to beautiful music to bring me back to good memories. And life is meant to be enjoyed. So enjoy it. And whatever it is that's tying you down, like Sean said, break those molds. Get away from it. Just do what you need to do to feel peace and be happy. And I promise you, it's not bad things that are going to make you happy.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure.
Happiness and peace does not come from darkness. So do what it takes to feel peace and happiness in your life, because that's what you're going to, when you die and look back, you're going to be so glad you did. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, go for a walk. Go for a hike. Kiss your wife. Kiss your husband. Go give your mom and dad a big hug and tell them you're grateful for them, for whatever comes to mind. And if you don't have anything to be grateful for them for, just say, here's a hug.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. But above and beyond all that, like, love yourself. Dig deep. Find a way to just love that thing that you look in the mirror at every single day. And just understand that you're brilliant. And what made you brilliant is you. And that's all that matters. And paint a smile on your face until it happens regularly. Who cares? Fake it until you make it.
Also,
let's do this thing.
Yeah, they've shown that just even if you can smile in the mirror, I think it's like for 20 minutes or something like that, it just... And also the brain starts to tell itself, if you smile, it's going to find a reason why you're smiling. It's going to make a reason why. You're going to laugh, a joke, or it's going to bring up some random weird memory. But if you start to smile for no reason, I do it all the time in the car. You know, I'll look at other people and just smile. And then instantly, like, I'll find no reason why to laugh or smile, or it's a song, or I just see something, or it's a license plate, or who knows what it is. But your brain will just, it searches, like, why is he smiling? Okay, send everything in. And it'll just... like flood your brain with fun stuff and laughing. But so what's a good way for our listeners to let you know they found you through the podcast or something like that? What's saying they heard you on a podcast, or I mean,
sure.
What do you think?
You can like us on Facebook. We're on Facebook.
By the way, best idea you guys ever did was doing that $10 float idea. That's fantastic. That's such a good.
But then I had so many people pissed off because we only gave out a certain amount. Because I have to make a little bit of money, so
yeah.
I could only give away a certain amount, so that made some people unhappy. But
I tell you what, all those people out there that are loving this podcast and are here with us almost 2 hours in.
Live, by the way? I should find out.
I pull up about 9 plays.
9 plays? That's not.
That's what I'm pulling up right now.
That's
so
impossible.
I don't think so. I think we have probably about 20 to 40.
Because last night we had 41. There's no way we have 9.
Yeah.
It's okay if you do.
No.
No.
You guys just bore people. I don't know. No, but
it's a Tuesday night.
So it's a good way for,
just come on in. We'll get you guys taken care of. We'll give you the friends and family discount.
Yeah, anyone who listens to this podcast,
hold on.
$49. Right?
No, not $49, $40.
Oh, 40.
That's how Crash rolls it out down there in Venice Beach.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
All right.
That guy's crazy.
Yes.
He's on another level. He is.
All right, $40, man. Come on in and check this thing out. And of course, the 3 pass is $41 a piece at the 123. But come on in.
Yeah, I suggest getting a 3 pass.
Okay.
The first time is great, and you may feel uncomfortable for a second. You're just trying to lay and float, and you're just like, okay, your brain's totally different. You're trying to turn the brain off for a minute, and your head's going, I need to check Facebook and Instagram or this or that. But the first time it's you experience it. You dip your feet. The second time when I went in was a whole nother experience. It was like, whoa. Like I had the feeling of doing like front flips. Like I didn't know if I was up, down, left, right. It was this whole like, but it's not a sick feeling. It's not like where you're, it's like I like this. This is cool. And your brain plays all these tricks because it can't find where you're laying, and if you're standing, if you're down, if you're up, if you're backwards, if you're left or right, or whatever it is, it's so cool to just even play with. Even if you're just looking to have fun, It's fun. Go do it. But there's so many benefits, and you guys are right. So
Yeah.
go check it out, you guys. That's all. Anything else? Anyone shout outs? Kids? Grandma? No, I'm dead. Anyway. Okay.
All right. Just one more question. Where are you guys located for our listeners?
Oh, yeah. Give us your address.
So we're
And
at
website.
7050 South Highland Drive, Suite 220. We're right at the busy intersection of Highland Drive and Fort Union Boulevard, basically, there in Cottonwood Heights. Our phone number is 801-599-1327, and our website is saltcityfloat.com. And give us a call if you mention the podcast. Christian's wonderful podcast. We'll let you float for $40.
That's a deal, guys.
And we'll get you hooked on it.
That's awesome.
And then like us on Facebook.
No,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
just wanted to give a
Throw up their
big,
Facebook page.
I just wanted to give a big shout out to Christian.
Thank you, man.
And thank you so much for putting us on this podcast. And like I say, you're brilliant.
Thanks.
You're a
I like to
treasure.
think so, but no.
You are a treasure, man. You've got a beautiful surrounding. So,
Thanks, man.
shout out to Joe Rogan, sensory deprivation experience. You know, Google it, YouTube it, whatever. I mean, a guy that accomplished is not going to be talking out of his ears like that. So, kind of draw your own conclusion and come check this thing out. You know, we got nothing but love for you.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. You guys have to, I mean, really, you have to do it at least once.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, you'll want to go back. Because once you go once, you're like, I promise you the second time is amazing. And I'm sure even the third, fourth, as it becomes regular, I bet it's enormously different. It's beautiful. But, so you guys have to try it. That's all I have to say. Anything else? Did we throw up their website?
Yep.
Okay. You guys have to go like them on Facebook, and you have to schedule. Go schedule. Let them know that you heard it from the podcast, and we'll cut you a good deal. That's it. Anything else? All right. Much love. Hugs and kisses, guys. Thanks.
Passionate intensity. It's a complicated fusion. We are catapulted towards death. The mystique I adore is the beating heart of those who share my life. This is their legacy, in obscene glances, laced in silver.